Oh hey, welcome to another edition of Socrates Goes Somewhere. My name is Socrates. I'm going somewhere. Waiting for a bus to catch a train down to Rotterdam. Gonna do a little storytelling in the afternoon. A beautiful, beautiful Dutch afternoon. Lekker weer, as they say here. Beautiful weather. But let's go to Rotterdam, shall we? Tell some stories. Woohoo! Wait for the bus. Here we are, Utrecht Centraal. On the east side, every road leads to Utrecht. We can change over to the Rotterdam trains. I'm going down to Rotterdam, Alexander, Utrecht. Beautiful, gigantic train station. Where are you going? Rotterdam, Alexander. It's gonna be late. Catch a nice train here. This was going to Enschede. That's not the right way, so we'll wait for the next one. Going to Alexander. Rotterdam. See Enschede. Nice theater in Enschede. Infrastructure, train, Netherlands. Hasn't changed too much so far. Ah, it's my train. Ah, the dreaded delay. Sometimes on a Dutch train, you think it's going to come, but it doesn't. So you gotta wait an extra few minutes. But you can't count on that 5 minutes, because you figure, okay, I got 5 extra minutes. It may show up on time, and then all of a sudden, there you are, missing your train. Definitely like the Dutch system though. A lot of trains, the old spinner, the jogger, jogging off as it's slowly going station to station. Dutch rail, hanging out at Kunst on a day that's pretty at the moment. It was raining earlier. It's going to be raining again later because this is the Netherlands. It's back to Dutch weather. Waiting on my train. Back on time. Yeah.
Next storyteller is Socrates. A fun fact, with a name like Socrates, it is easy to have high expectations. However, life's biggest lesson has been that having lower expectations is the best path to a happy and fulfilling life and to seeing a great live performance on stage. Socrates!
Thanks so much. Thanks for Mohammed. Thanks for bringing this whole thing together. Give him a good hand. Okay, so my name is Socrates. I am an American. It's true, I know what it's like. So I have a strange name. My full name is Socrates Inglessis. And the story is my name and where it all came from. And unfortunately, there's a couple of people who are of Turkish descent, so we sort of intertwine in the story. Because Inglessis is not a normal Greek name, it's actually a nickname. And my father told me that when I was young. I didn't quite believe him, but I finally learned more of the details. So in the end, this is how a family gets its name. So back in about 1840, my great-grandfather was born, a man named Demetrius. And he was born basically about 15, 20 years after Greece got its independence from the Ottoman Empire, which at that point had sort of, the weird thing about the connection of history that people don't quite get is that, first of all, you can blame the British on everything. I don't know if you know that or not, but you can blame the British for everything. Problems with Islam is the British's fault because they did the Crusades, and from about 1200 to 1400, they ran around all of Asia or the Middle East, screaming "God wills it" and slaughtering everybody. And this sort of brought about the reaction from the people who weren't them, who were mostly Muslims in the end they turned into, and they became the Ottoman Empire when they successfully beat the stupid British back and they beat the Crusades. And that was about 14 or so hundred in there, and this became the Ottoman Empire, which is also when they took over Greece. So Greece was 400 years under occupation, because back then they didn't measure things in months and years, they measured it in hundreds of years, everything took forever. even though people lived so short lives. It's really incredible. But about 1840, when my great-grandfather was born, Greece is a new nation after 400 years of occupation, under basically stagnation, unfortunately, because the Ottoman Empire sort of stagnated the world. And it took another 100 years until the end of World War I, when Turkey and the Ottoman Empire lost that war, and that was when the Ottoman Empire finally broke and the rest of the world became free. Mesopotamia became Iraq, etc. So Greece was a destroyed nation after 400 years of occupation. And my great-grandfather was born, like I say, 15, 20 years after this. So as a young man, he's growing up in this destroyed, damaged, stagnated place when the whole world is suddenly open to him, and he becomes a captain, which is what you do as a Greek. And so he took ships out and ended up going towards England. And again, this is back when the journey in 6 months, this was I'll see you soon is 3 years, see you in a little while is 5, and maybe you come back, maybe you don't. People went to the New World and they never went back to the Old World. My mother's family left the Old World to Eastern Europe, and they never went back once. So eventually my great-grandfather comes back to the village, and at this point the village has grown up a bit, and there was 2 other Demetrius. And there was Demetrius the fisherman and Demetrius the farmer. Thank you. And then there was my great-grandfather, and they were like, who is this guy? And he came back wearing English clothes, because he'd been in England for less time, and so he was Demetrius the Englishman. And if you know your linguistics, and everyone always tells me that Inglessis comes from various languages in Spanish and such, as lots of English and churches and this combination, so he became Demetrius Inglessis. And that's why it's a weird last name in Greek, and it's not even properly normally spelled. And it's a strange name one way or the other. And so now my great-grandfather, again, born in 1840, he had 9 kids altogether, and 5 boys and 4 girls. And the youngest of all of them, I think, was my grandfather, named Socrates. And the way it works in Greece, before we had last names, they did a thing with your father's name and the son's name. So the father's first name, in this case Demetrius, all of his children will have his name as a second name. So my grandfather was named Socrates of Demetrius, and then Inglessis gets tagged on at the end. So my name was sort of predestined, and that was sort of part of the way the family goes. You can tell who everybody is based on their middle name, who their fathers were. Now in my case, my grandfather was named Socrates Demetrius, and so his children are named Demetrius Socrates, is my uncle. And then I had another uncle named sorry, I'm getting it too much. No, don't do that. He made it all very, very difficult. I had a stroke a little while ago, so pulling up names can be a bitch sometimes. It happens. But, and his name, of course, was again middle name Socrates, and my father was named Kriton Socrates. And so my destiny name was Socrates Kriton. Now I got to America, and unfortunately, my other uncle, whose name I cannot remember at the moment because of it, and just roll with it, because eventually, I'm 57, so life is an adventure. And well, he passed away as a young boy, Andonis, thank you, Andonis of Socrates, and he passed away as a young boy, which unfortunately for them, they actually witnessed his death in a cave, which is something we do in these probably weird countries with rocks. And so they kind of broke the thing where my uncle Demetrius, he named his son Andonis after his brother. So that when my birth came around, it was sort of easier for them to break it, because for some reason my mother thought I would get teased with the name Socrates. I don't get that. It's a great name, people respect it, everybody knows it. So, and I guess they didn't like Kriton, so they named me Kimon. Yeah, a crappy, weird Greek name that nobody's heard of. Anybody heard of him? Kimon.
Johnny Kimmel, no?
He was an admiral. And he won 2 battles that he was supposed to lose, and he was considered great. And then that 3rd battle he was also supposed to lose, he lost. So they exiled him to Crete so he could die somewhere. Because that's gratitude, you know what I mean? Socrates, Kriton, Kimon, they're all horribly, horribly treated. So I was raised as Kimmel, in fact. They didn't even have me pronounce it Greek. You know what I mean? I don't know why they have me Kimon, at least makes some sense. You kind of think, oh, there's something there. Kimmel. Can we agree at least? Kimon is better than Kimon? Yeah? So for like 50 years, I lived as Kimon, or about 40 some odd years I lived as Kimon, and I hate that damn name, and moved here in 2014 and switched at least to Kimon, because the Dutch at least see it, they're like, Kimon, hey, you guys are great. And about 8 years ago, I finally, somebody had, you know when someone will mention something to you and it sounds like, makes a lot of sense, you know, what's your middle name? Socrates. Why don't you go by that? Huh. And thought of that. And I switched to Socrates, which is, you know, like I said, it's my name of destiny, so I don't feel it's like, you know, doing anything but fixing a long wrong, you know. And then I started going on stage and doing stand-up comedy, and it's a hell of a lot better name for stand-up comedy. But people think it's a prop. You know, people assume that, is it really your name? And it's like, well, yeah, if it wasn't, then I'd spend all my time on stage doing Socrates stuff, and as it is, it's just a noise that you use to call me out, you know what I mean? So, in the end, your name does define who you are, and if anyone wants to go to America and you have a weird name, change it. It's better now, but it depends. If it's like, what's your name out of curiosity? Ayaz. See, that's hard because they don't know what to do with that. You know what I mean? Does anyone have an ethnic sounding name that sort of fits you? You know what I mean? Because if it's a name that fits, you're like, oh yeah, you know, that fits you. Then they're happy with that. But Kimon or Kimon, what the hell is this? They couldn't even pronounce it. It was like I was 4th grade. You know, we'd have a substitute teacher. They all do that here too. And they would go through the list, and everybody knows what was going to go on. Edith, you know, this, and then they literally couldn't get past, and everyone would laugh, and then point, it's him, because they all knew it, you know what I mean? It's like, couldn't be the last thing. You know, if you can't even try to pronounce somebody's name, you know what I mean? You're like, well, I don't know about this guy. You know, who wants to deal with that? So if you name your kids a weird name, send them to America, I would say it's generally a bad move, but in the end, my mom was wrong. Red card. Yeah, see, my mom was wrong. That's what I'm saying. Because I haven't been teased once now that I've been here and I've been Socrates. But I much prefer to have my proper name, like I said. And the cool thing is my cousin Andonis, who's named after his passed away uncle, he named his kids, sort of used his father's name, Demetrius, in both of his daughter's names. So he sort of made him work in there. His mother's Annabelle, so it sort of combined. I think it's a nice thing, you know what I mean? You kind of know where your parents are in this thing. Like I have a lot of families, you can tell, oh, I know where your father must be. But anyway, so if you need to talk to Socrates and you want something that's not exactly interesting, you know, or useful, I'm on comedy, comedy, and like you just here. So anyway, that's my story about how a family got her name.
Does anyone have
Questions
questions?
Questions back there? You there? You there? You there?
Kemo, the king you talked about, or the general, what century are we talking about?
1840 he was born.
Oh, just recently.
Well, yeah, fairly recently, yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. It's from 1400 to about 1800, the Ottomans controlled Greece. It was 1825, I think, or 1821 is Greek independence year. And they were the first ones to break free. If it's called an empire, it's bad. There's no like good empire. You know, by definition, you are oppressing everybody nearby. You know, no one has an empire that stops at their border. You know. So no offense to the Turkish folks.
Yeah, you keep looking at me.
Well, she said you said you're Turkish. Somebody
No, my parents are from Turkey.
Yeah.
But I am of Kurdish descent.
Well, there you go. Oh, well, then I'm sorry. Forget what I said. You also were Turkish back then? I was pointing at him the whole time.
No, but also my cousin is married to a half-Greek, like she's half-Greek.
Right.
So
Well,
don't
the Kurds
make
are
me-
from Kurdistan, which unfortunately doesn't have a proper set of
Well, you
borders
know,
yet.
I'm fine wherever.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I wouldn't, you know, if you're calling you Turkish and you're Kurdish, I would argue that that's a misnomer. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, so I wouldn't, you know, I mean, you can call me American if you want, but it's, you know, I was born and raised there, but in a lot of ways, I don't have British blood. You know what I mean? An American is Irish and British background, if you ask me. They're Protestants from, you know, that place.
Yeah.
Americans are idiots.
Well, then, yeah, no, if you really want to go there, then yeah, absolutely.
Natives, I would
Well, we
say.
took care of that problem a long time ago. Yeah, I didn't, but somebody. No, you're absolutely right, you know.
I've got a question. Did you have pets?
No, no.
If you would have had a son, what would have been his name?
When I was younger or
No.
more recent, as a younger man, I don't know. You know what I mean? I probably would have named him Socrates at that point. Well, at that point, his name should have been Socrates Chemo.
Alright.
And that was his destiny name would be Socrates Chemo. You know what I mean? So at that point, if I hadn't, you know what I'm saying? I can't go on any longer.
So I have another question.
Oh, I see. Now you have plenty of time. You can just add the time you want.
Socrates is an amazing name.
Yeah, I think
I
so
mean,
too.
he's so influential. So
Yeah.
are you happy with the
Yeah,
name? Socrates?
yeah, it's a fantastic name. Since I've used it, I've got no complaints, never got into a fist fight. It's fantastic. If it's even helpful, or I have a cousin who goes by the name Ricky, because he's sort of a smaller guy, but his proper name in Greek is Inglessis.
Hercules. Like
Yeah, Hercules, and God made Hercules a little guy. Yeah, so, but he fits Ricky very well. It's a nice, very nice guy. So, yeah.
Okay.
Is chemo like chemotherapy?
No, that's one of the many nicknames I got as a kid. Because again, mom thought I wasn't going to get teased, was switched me from Socrates, which I don't think I would have gotten teased. But I got 1,000 versions of unpronounced chemo. Yeah, that was definitely one of them. No, it's Kimon.
Oh, okay.
And it was a god. It was just a god. He was an admiral. And he was supposed to lose, but at the time, I think it actually goes back to the Spartans or something like that. Were the Spartans of water? Were they water warriors? Well, the way the Greeks worked is that when he beat you, you could die or you could become part of our country, sort of as a slave. But it was sort of an indentured servanty thing, and they kept you together. And so we happen to have a navy, which the Greeks never had. And so he used the navy, and they were like, you know, let's attack these sons of bitches. They don't have a navy. Like, the hell, they've got a navy. And you don't expect the navy to attack your ships. It's pretty easy to beat a person. So yeah, it's a great history, you know. But again, in Greece, the Greeks are all like, yeah, Kimon is fantastic. Yeah. Here, you know, it's like yap. Everybody loves yap here.
Thank you.